Hello there guys, Francis Gray here, welcome back to a brand new model kit build, and in today's video we're going to be taking not one but two Spartan miniature dioramas and we're going to fuse them together into one slightly bigger diorama. I'll see you after this. Hello there guys, welcome back to a brand new build, and in today's video we're going to be making up not one but two Spartan little figure kits in 54mm scale to make them into one diorama. So this is a private commission, and I've done a few commissions for this collector in the past, and yeah, last time he picked one of the models up he dropped off these two. And he said he wanted them as one diorama. So the actual model rules, so it's titled Enemy at the Gates Part 2, and it's from Time Machine Miniatures. And then we have the second kit, which is same again, Time Machine Miniatures, but this time it's called Figures from the Realm of Time. So yeah, I'll give you a quick look at what's inside. So we have the dead Spartan or injured Spartan on the base. We have this other side piece here, which I believe he said that if we can incorporate, great, if not, no big deal. And then we have a bunch of the little white metal figures, which we'll get more into later on. And then for this one we have this base and we have some more white metal figures inside. Now what he was saying before he left was he wants this displaying with this like that, so I'll zoom in for that. So yeah, so we wanted this to be incorporated in some way, but it's a bit tricky because I need to decipher where the soldiers are. So with this guy being here, then I presume he's here looking inwards. And I believe with this one we have a Persian warrior here and we have a Spartan here, but he's only leaping via 1 foot. So that 1 foot will be on here, so he will be protruding a little bit past this base, so we need to keep that in mind when we go ahead and add a base. So now that we know roughly what we're doing, for the next stage I need to go ahead and look through my wooden base box and see if we've got anything that fits.
15 minutes later.
Okay, so by magic we've gone ahead and we've got the base that I think will be best representative of the overall model. So I think this is roughly how we're going to be displayed. So it comes up nice to this edge, and then this nestles in there quite nicely, and then this part here doesn't really want to fit at the moment, but I suppose I could like break it in two and then add the chunks later on, and then we can model around it. Now that we know that's there, let's go ahead with a pencil and trace a rough outline so we know where we are. So for the next part I'm going to go in with a sharp scalpel and I'm going to add some zigzag score marks, so when we go ahead and glue this in place it's going to have a lot of scratches and details to hold on to, so it's going to make it a lot stronger. Here that ought to do. Okay, let's get the glue gun out. Okay, so this part I'm going to have to try and cut in half.
"70 years later."
Okay, so that was a mad 5 minutes, but it's off to a decent start. So I'm going to go ahead and leave all this hot glue fully dry, and then we can crack on with the next bit.
The next step.
Okay, so for the next part we need to go ahead and we need to add some bulk in and amongst all this area, so it's all nice one solid piece. So in order to do that, I'm going to go in with good old-fashioned Das air dryer modelling clay.
Alright.
And now I'm going to go in with a few bits of broken concrete. And now I'm going to go in with a few smaller pebbles.
You get the idea.
And for the next part I'm going to go in with some wood filler, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in some of these gaps. And after a few days of leaving that to fully dry, for the next stage I went in with some PVA glue and an old brush I'm not bothered about, and then just did a top over surface layer. And now we're into the spray booth, and we're going to give this at least 2 coats of a nice grey prime, and that'll go a long way to making this look whole.
Right.
And for the next part I'm going to go in with some black surface primer, and I'm going to cake into all the nooks and crannies, and then we're going to use a old bit of damp cloth to just mop up the excess, and then what that does is it just gets into all the shaded areas. And seeing as we've got some primer left out, we might as well go ahead and lay a base coat to the bottom of the base, just to go a long way to make it a little bit darker.
Yeah, boy.
And for the next part we need to go ahead and start adding some highlight dry brushes. So I'm just going to go in with some grey primer from Vallejo. and a nice stipple brush. And now I'm going to do the exact same step, but this time with some off-white and go a little bit lighter. Okay, that seems to have come up a treat. So let's go ahead and leave this to fully dry before we crack on with the next bit.
8 hours later.
For the next part, I'm going to go in with a medium green and a stipple brush, and I'm going to go ahead and do some dry brushing in some of the little nooks and crannies just to get across like a mossy kind of green lived in effect. And now I'm just going to go in with some pure white. I'm just going to do a little simple dry brush over the various rocks just to give a nice highlight and make it separate from the dark undertones of the grass and the, well, overall on the base. Okay guys, so for the next part I'm going to go in with some of this stuff, which is some scenic grass scatter from Jarvis. I've just got a lot of it in a jar, easy to store it this way. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and add some PVA glue to the diorama, and we're going to strategically scatter this into key areas, and then this will go a long way to making the diorama look a lot more realistic. Okay, let's go ahead and leave that to fully dry. And yes, don't worry, we'll go ahead and put the excess back in the jar, and we can save that for a rainy day. Okay guys, I just wanted to say, if you're enjoying this video, please slap that like button, and if you want to be a legend, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss out on future builds. Okay, now that you're legends, let's get back to the video. And for the next part I'm going to go in with some dark flesh from Model Colour. And while we go ahead and wait for that to dry, for the next stage I'm going to go in with some various shades of dark browns and dark greens from just a child's watercolour set. And then this is going to go ahead and break up some of that green grass scatter to make it look more like patches of like dead grass and etc. So you get the idea in the end. And once again, while that's drying, for the next stage I went in with some medium brown, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a basic base tone brown to all the brown areas. So we're talking like bits of arrow, sword scabbard, shields, the scare area of the Spartan warriors, etc. Basically, if it's brown, it got painted. And now in with some Scarlet Red for Model Air, I'm going to go ahead and start painting some of the red parts of the dead soldiers. And next I'm going to go in with a mixture of Glorious Gold and some Brassy Brass. I'm going to go ahead and start painting some of the armour. Okay, so this arm seems to go to this figure here. Now, in order for this to somewhat fit, I've had to erode some of this rock face off here, and to be fair, I probably could do with getting rid of a bit more. Okay, that seems to fit a bit better. And there's also a tiny little microscopic hand as well that I believe needs to go here. Okay, I won't glue this in place. Okay, I won't glue this in place just yet because obviously we want to add some lovely detail underneath.
Huh?
So for the next part, I went ahead and printed off some decals that I previously created for other builds on Spartan warriors, and I decided that just the normal Spartan V for this shield would work really well. So I think there's more decorative shield designs that I want to show off, but because this Spartan shield is facing the floor, you're not going to see it unless you really go looking. So I thought this would probably be the best one for that particular shield. So yes, I'm just going to cut it out, and then we can go ahead and get the shield and add some water to the front facing of the shield, and then we can go ahead and add some water to the transfer, and then we can carefully peel away.
But wait! There's more!
Okay, so you might have noticed that the sticker transfer wasn't as big as the shield facing. Yeah, that was a little calculation error on my part, but not to worry. What best thing about these decals is once they're actually stuck on there, you can just go ahead and paint directly over, and it looks a lot more natural painted rather than just printed off. So I'm just going to go in with some just general black acrylic paint. I'm going to take my time and make sure I don't go over the edges and I don't go over that red V. And while the sticker transfers are still out, I decided to go ahead and add a separate design to the front facing shield to the dead or dying Spartan on the floor. Now this is going to be a focal point that's going to catch the eye, so I decided to go in with my favourite design, which is that like oval loop pattern that seems to be a lot more eye-catching than just the regular red V. But as you can see there, once again, it's a little bit on the short side. So we're going to have to basically paint over this, but we can use what's already printed on there as a guideline. So just going to go in with various colours of black, white and red, and we can go ahead and take our time and try to stretch that same design out, keeping that same curvature, and yeah, hopefully we can make this work.
Perfect.
Okay guys, so for the next part now, there's quite a lot of little figures with this model, and if I take the time to paint every single one and show you each and every individual step that I took, this video is going to be about 6 hours long. and nobody's going to click on a 6-hour video of me painting little figures.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Unfortunately, it just is what it is. So for the next section, I'm going to show you like a time-lapse kind of montage of each figure, like how it started, somewhere in the middle, and then how it ended, and then we'll get back to the regular build. So strap yourself in, I'll see you in about a minute.
What follows is a brief construction montage. We hope you enjoyed this brief construction montage.
Okay guys, so I've been playing around with the figures and what should go where, and unfortunately with me making the two different separate bases all one, some of the characters are a little bit different where they're supposed to be. So this guy is supposed to be here, but this Persian is supposed to be around here originally, and yeah, it's messed it up a little bit. Like, yeah, I could swap the characters around a little bit maybe, but yeah, I'm wondering, is it worth this guy killing this guy? Or looking like he's going to kill this guy, but he doesn't sit flush perfectly with the base. He's not too bad, I suppose, but the problem is this Spartan here. So this Persian could roughly more or less go anywhere, but this guy's supposed to be like leaping forward, and he's like higher up to skewer down, where if I would just put him on the base like that, makes no sense why he's aiming for the Persian's foot. So yeah, I'm thinking I might need to make something here, like an extra rock or something like that, where he can be like up high, leaping off, and then this Persian's looking up to him. And it makes more sense that these are fighting with spears, and then this guy is basically, and he's going to get killed, and this guy's basically just going to walk up and stab him. So that's the theory well, that's the theory. So yeah, so for the next stage I need to go ahead and make some kind of big rock here. Okay guys, so at first glance I think that worked rather well, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that to fully dry, and then we can try and match it out colour wise.
A little later.
And I also forgot to mention that off camera I went ahead and painted this as well, so soon we can go ahead and add this guy in place and he'll be a lot more secure than he was before. But before I go ahead and do that, I need to go ahead and add one of these shields. And out of all of them, my two main choices is either this one, I just think that looks pretty badass, or this was the original one I was going to use, but I don't know, I feel like the other one just seems to go with this guy a lot better than what this one does for some reason. So do you agree? If you do, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, out of the two of them, I'm thinking that guy, that looks way cooler. So yeah, let's go ahead and glue it. Yeah, I can't help but think that that looks a lot better.
Alright.
So now that we've done one of the shields, we'll go ahead and do the exact same but with the other Spartan. And once again, I think this version of this shield suits this Spartan a lot better. Okay, so we need to go ahead and glue this arm back into place. Okay, so this guy, he hasn't been glued in place yet, he's just standing there, but I need to make sure that he's lined up to this Persian on the floor. So I think that's probably about as best as I'm going to get that Persian, so I'm going to have to try and super glue him in place. Right, at first glance that seems to have worked pretty well. Okay, so we are nearing the end of the build, I should think. So for the next stage I need to start gluing the figures in place. So I'm going to go in with just some 2-part epoxy resin and we're going to try and do our best to make everything line up. So for this part I went over with a little bit of Abe's epoxy modelling clay just to go over some of the areas where the glue kind of like had to be put on a little bit more thickly. So it just goes over the remnants of the glue, so we don't have that like really glossy look. So this will get painted to match. So while we're waiting for that modelling clay to fully cure, for the next stage I'm going to go in with just high velocity super glue, and I'm going to super glue some extra shields that I made, and that'll go a long way to making this diorama look complete. Okay guys, so for the next part I'm going to go in with some of this stuff, which is some scenic static grass tufts. So I bought these pre-made, even though I do have a static grass applicator, it just sometimes is easier to just use these. So they look like little hairy caterpillars when you open them. So yeah, so let's go ahead and add some of these to the diorama, and then that'll really make this pop.
Pop. Pop, 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 pop.
soon after.
And next I'm going to go in with some gloss varnish and we're going to go ahead and paint over the shields. And once those are dried, for the last stage I just need to put it into the spray booth and I just need to blend the outside edge into the black base, and I believe this is finished. Okay guys, so I hope you've enjoyed this one. Me myself have had a blast putting these two together, and even though it was a little bit on the complicated side, I am happy with the finished results. And I do think it makes a nice little diorama of the Battle of Thermopylae. So, if you've enjoyed this video, please slap that like button, share on Facebook and X, because it helps new people find the YouTube channel, which I always appreciate. Thank you for any help. If you have any comments, comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future builds. And if you want to be a legendary viewer, please take 5 minutes, check out my Patreon page, where with your help and support, we can do these videos full time rather than part time, which means a lot more video builds for you guys and a lot more work for me. So, all that being said, once again, I'm Francis Gray, thank you for watching, and this has been the Spartan Diorama Part 3. I'll see you in the next build. If you like the content that I'm making, you'd like to support my work, here is a few links in the description, but only if you can afford it, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.